No one was prepared to see such a big change. As the glass door of the gym in the Hanamdong area opened slowly, cold air mixed with the scent of metal and sweat burst out, and behind a faint shadow, the two figures walked side by side. At first glance, all seems ordinary two men in simple sportswear. But it only took a second for the world to realize who they were. KimTaehyung and Jungkook. Two names that were once synonymous with tenderness, now return with a completely different aura. A fan's phone camera shaking in disbelief captured the moment faintly, but enough to set the internet on fire. Army trembled. The world stopped. They came back, and they changed. Change is not just physical. It's not just about the muscles that tighten under a simple t-shirt, nor about the now sharper jaw or wider shoulders. There was something in their eyes, a calmness born of a long struggle. Because behind the body that now looks as strong as steel, there is a story of 2 years of military service that the world has never really known. 2 years in which they left behind the cheers of the stage, the light of the lights, and the luxury that has always followed their every step. 2 years that turned them from idols into real men. When Taehyung first got into basic military training, many fans shed tears. The gentle faces that used to adorn the concert screens now had to adjust to the olive green uniform, to the discipline, the cries of the commander, and the mornings frozen under the dew. Jungkook, known for his free spirit and spoiled voice on stage, now has to hold a heavy backpack on his back, walk rough terrain, and swallow silence he's never known before. No cameras, no applause, just them and the silence slowly reshaping themselves. The military period was not just an obligation, it was a refining process. Taehyung is often cited as a quick adapter. His colleagues told him that he rarely complained, often smiling even when physical exercise became strenuous. Jungkook, on the other hand, was known as a disciplined and competitive warrior. He pushed himself further than limits, ran faster, lifted heavier, and tried to be the best in every session. What they experienced there, far from the glamorous world, left a mark that could not be simply erased. And now, when both step out of the gym with bodies that have been forged not just by fitness equipment, but also by the rigors of the military, the world is seeing results. Their every move seemed to carry the echoes of those 2 years of silence. Taehyung, with his calm gaze, now looked more mature, almost untouched by the crowd. Jungkook, with his short black hair, exudes a conviction that no longer seeks proof. He has already proven it in terrain unseen by cameras. One of the fitness trainers, who is known to be close to the world of celebrities, admitted that their workouts in the gym are not about shaping the body for the sake of appearance, but about maintaining the stamina and discipline that they have built up during the draft. They don't come for pictures or just for light exercise, he said. They came with an army mentality. Focused, quiet, and consistent. Not much to say, but everyone in the room could feel their energy. And that's what made the 47-second video a global phenomenon. Not just because of the muscles or the visuals, but because of the aura. The aura of two men who had been forged by time and endurance. An aura that cannot be created with a camera or a stage light. An aura born from cold days in a military dormitory, from long nights with a tired body, but an unquenchable spirit. For those who have served in the military, the sight of Taehyung and Jungkook at the gym isn't just viral content. It's a symbol of awakening. They understand the meaning of every sweat that falls, every heavy breath that is held, every pain that must be accepted with a smile. Because that's where true power is built. Not behind a grand stage, but in a quiet space where no one is watching. Netizens who watched the video began to attribute their physical changes to the emotional journey that may occur during the service. You can see it in their eyes, wrote one ex-user from Korea. There is a calmness and confidence there, like someone who has gone through something heavy, but comes back with a strong heart. That sentence became one of the most liked comments in the thread discussing the video. The media also highlighted. Several Korean portals wrote, Taehyung and Jungkook's transformation wasn't the result of the gym alone. It was the result of 2 years of forging them into the best versions of themselves. The article describes how the military exercises they underwent have created new habits that they now bring to civilian life. Getting up early without complaints, a disciplined diet, a sharp mental focus. Everything seems to cling to themselves even after returning to the world of entertainment. But perhaps the most touching was how they looked at each other at the end of the video. A brief laugh after a strenuous workout. A simple but meaningful laugh. For fans, that laughter is a sign that they're doing well. That beneath all that new pressure, change, and calm, they're still the same Taehyung and Jungkook. Only stronger, more mature, and more aware of the world around them. Many say that the military steals the time of idols. But in their case, perhaps the military actually gave them something bigger, time to get to know themselves. In those 2 years, they lost the spotlight but found solace. They lose noise but gain depth. And now, their every little move, even just lifting weights in the gym, carries meaning far beyond what it seems. The army watching the video felt something hard to explain. Not just pride, but some kind of deep emotional connection. They know it's not just a physical comeback, it's a spiritual awakening. In a world that always judges by appearances, Taehyung and Jungkook come to show that true strength grows from silence, from discipline, from a sense of loss, and from the courage to rise again. Now, their every step in the gym is no longer just a fitness exercise. It was a ritual, an extension of the military period that forms a new foundation in their lives. Their bodies may have changed, but their souls are now deeply rooted. They are no longer running for popularity, they are running for themselves, to maintain the balance that they found in those 2 years. As they left the gym that afternoon, the Seoul sun began to slowly descend, reflecting orange light on the glass of the building. Jungkook patted Taehyung on the shoulder, chuckled, and the two walked towards the car without saying much. The camera is still recording from afar, but the atmosphere is different. There is no celebrity aura that is trying to appear. Just two men who have grown up, walking together in meaningful silence. And perhaps that's where the beauty is. Because the story of Taehyung and Jungkook after the draft is not about losing popularity, but about rediscovering a purer power. Now, they're not just pop stars with pretty faces. They are the epitome of resilience, discipline, and resurrection. Every time they appear in front of the camera, the world is reminded that even in the midst of glitter, there is a long process behind the scenes that shapes a person to be extraordinary. The videos are now symbols that true growth doesn't happen on stage or in the spotlight, but in quiet spaces where one chooses to move forward even when no one is looking. And when the doors of that gym opened again the next day, everyone knew the two figures were no longer the same. They are back, but not as before. They come back as the best version of themselves. Taehyung and Jungkook, two names that used to be greeted with shouts, are now greeted with respectful silence. Because the world knows, behind the same smile, there was a long journey that made them real legends.